Dear students and mathematics lovers, please welcome to the YouTube channel Mathematics Student Helper. In present video, we discuss about ring theory. There are many videos related to ring theory. This is actually part 5. Here I discuss some problems on units divisor of 0, and at last I give the definition of idempotent elements with examples, and then a problem related with idempotent elements. I hope that you understand my video. Please see whole the videos by not skipping. After watching, if you understand the video, please like it and share it with your friends, and subscribe the channel to get more updates. At first, I find some units in a standard ring. The ring is integral quaternions. The problem is that find the units in the ring of integral quaternions. We know the set integral quaternions. Suppose H be the ring of integral quaternions, then H is equal to elements in H are 2 by 2 order matrix of complex number, where the elements are in that form, here A plus IB, and the elements in the main diagonal opposite side is the complex conjugate. That is, that two complex number has same real part, but complex imaginary part is in different in sign, and here that two elements are complex number, they have same imaginary part, but they have opposite real parts. That is, here this is C and there minus C. This type of matrix, collection of this type of matrices forms a ring with unity I2. This is the ring of integral quaternions. However, we find units in the mentioned ring, that is the integral quaternions. For that purpose, we consider an element alpha. Suppose alpha be a unit in H, then obviously alpha inverse exists in H. Okay. Let alpha equal to P plus IQ, R plus IS, minus R plus IS, P minus IQ. That is, we take a matrix in that form. Clearly here PQRS are the integers. Okay. Since alpha is a matrix and its inverse exists in H, therefore its determinant must be 0. If you calculate determinant of alpha, this will be P square plus Q square plus R square plus S square, and therefore this must be not equal to 0. Since alpha inverse exists, determinant of alpha must be non-zero, that is alpha is a non-singular matrix. Okay. However, now alpha inverse is that if you calculate alpha inverse, you get alpha inverse. Alpha inverse is the adjoint by determinant of A, 1 by determinant of A, and this is the adjoint. That is, you have to find the cofactor of P plus IQ. Cofactor of P plus IQ is P minus IQ, and here cofactor of R plus IS is minus of minus R plus IS, that is R minus IS. R minus IS is the cofactor of R plus IS. Just I put R plus IS there. Actually, we have to put R plus IS, R minus IS in the place of that, and that we have to take the transpose, but here I take transpose directly. Please calculate alpha inverse yourself. Okay. However, since alpha inverse belongs to H, that must be 1. Otherwise, alpha inverse does not belongs to H. I discuss it. Since alpha inverse belongs to H, therefore P square plus Q square plus R square plus S square must be 1. Why? Because suppose here if I write down alpha inverse in the form just simplification, just I take multiplication of 1 by P square plus Q square plus R square plus S square into every element in that portion. Therefore alpha inverse will be that. That is, you see that alpha inverse has something plus I into something plus here something plus I into something in that form. Each real parts and imaginary parts must be integers, because alpha inverse belongs to H. Since H contains all the elements A plus matrix whose components are A plus IV form, where A and B are integers, so therefore they are the real part and that is the imaginary parts. All the elements, all the components must be integer. In particular, I take that elements, that is S by P square plus Q square plus R square plus S square. Clearly it will be an integer. Now this will be integer only if A is equal to plus minus 1, plus minus or minus 1, and the remaining set, that is PQR, is actually 0, because suppose here A is equal to 1. Okay, so this is 1 and this is also 1, a square means 1. If you take PQR at least one of as non-zero, suppose here P equal to 2 and Q and R are non-zero, Q and R 0, but here if you take P equal to 2, then result will be 1 by 2 square plus 0 square plus 0 square plus 1 square, that means 1 by 5, therefore this is not a integer. However, if you take A is equal to 1, then remaining elements, that is PQR, must be 0, otherwise it will not be an integer. Similarly, if you take A is equal to minus 1, in that case also you have to take PQR as 0. Okay. But if you take A is equal to plus minus 2, then denominator must be greater than or equal to 4. Suppose here if you take A is equal to 2, then this will be numerator will be 2, but in denominator this is 4. But these terms, value of that terms must be greater than or equal to 0, since here PQR are integers, therefore its square will be non-negative. In particular, if you take PQR as separately 0, then the denominator must be exactly 4, otherwise it is greater than 4. So here denominator is larger than the numerator, as a result this is a fraction. Okay. However, if you take S equal to minus 2, the result will be same, this will be a fraction, that is a negative fraction. However, if S equal to plus minus 2, this not be a integer. Okay. Similarly, if you take A is equal to plus 3 or minus 3, then denominator must be greater than or equal to 9. In that case also S by that expression must be is not in Z. Similarly, if you take any values of S, then this will not be an integer. Okay. The only possibility is if S equal to 1, and in that case P square plus Q square plus R square plus H square must be 1. So in a single sentence, alpha inverse exists if and only if P square plus Q square plus R square plus H square equal to 0. Now, what is the condition for which P square plus Q square plus R square plus S square equal to 1? There are 8 cases. This happens in if following 8 cases occur. In first case, if you take P equal to 1 and remainings are 0, then the result hold, that is P square plus Q square plus R square plus S square, that is must be equal to 1. If you take P equal to minus 1, then result will be same. Similarly, if you take Q equal to 1 and remainings are 0, or Q equal to minus 1 remainings are 0, then the determinant of alpha must be non-zero. Similarly, if you take R equal to plus 1 remainings are 0 and R equal to minus 1 and A is equal to plus minus 1 and remainings are 0. I hope that alpha is in your mind. Alpha is that P plus IQ, R plus IS, R minus R plus IS, R P minus IQ. However, if you put P equal to, in case 1, if you put K equal to 1, suppose here in that 8 cases, inverse of alpha exists, that is multiplicative inverse of alpha exists, that is in that cases alpha are units. In case 1, if you take alpha equal to P equal to 1, then alpha will be here 1 0, here 1, that is 1 0 0 1. If you take alpha equal to minus 1, that P equal to minus 1, the result will be that. Okay. If you Q equal to 1, here the result will be plus I, here there are no Q, so these are 0. Here Q equal to 1, P equal to 0, that is this is minus I. As a result, I 0 0 minus I. Okay. If you take Q equal to minus 1, the result will be minus I 0 0 I. If you take R equal to 1 and remainings are 0, then what happens? Then this is 0, here this is 1, here this is minus 1, and here 0. So result is 0 1 minus 1 0. If you take R equal to minus 1, the result will be 0 minus 1 1 0. If you take S equal to 1, here plus I, here plus I also, and there the 0. So this will be 0 I 0, and at last if you take S equal to minus 1, this will be minus I and this will be minus I. Therefore, these are the values of alpha. Hence, in 8 cases, that is in the 8 elements in H, that is set of all integral quaternions, these 8 elements are multiplicative inverse, that is these are the units in ring of integral quaternions. Okay. Please calculate yourself, take your pen and exercise book and then calculate. I hope that you understand that problem. Now I give another problem. if a ring contains a left divisor of 0, then it must contain a both sided divisor of 0. Suppose R be a ring containing a left divisor of 0, let A be a left divisor of 0. Okay, we have to prove that if R contains a left divisor of 0, then R contains a both sided divisor of 0. However, if R contains right divisor of 0 instead of left divisor of 0, it contains a both sided divisor of 0. Here we consider R is a ring containing a left divisor of 0, and suppose alpha is a left divisor of 0. Then from the definition of left divisor of 0, we can find an non-zero element B such that A dot B equal to 0. Since A is left divisor of 0, clearly A is non-zero. However, if B equal to 0, then here A is a right divisor of 0, because here product of two non-zero element is 0, therefore A is a right divisor of 0. I hope that you know the definition of divisor of 0. Actually, if A is a left divisor of 0 or A is a divisor of 0, divisor of 0 means if multiplication of two non-zero element is 0, then the elements are called divisor of 0. If the element is the left side of the product, then it is called left divisor of 0, or if it is the right side of the multiplication symbol, then it is called right divisor of 0. However, when multiplication of two non-zero element is 0, then the elements are called divisor of 0. Okay. So here if V equal to 0, then we can conclude that A is a right divisor of 0. So combining that two cases, we can conclude that A is a divisor of 0. So when A is a left divisor of 0, and in that case if B equal to 0, then A is the both sided divisor of 0. That is, it is a left divisor of 0 as well as it is a right divisor of 0. But what happens if B and not equal to 0? In that case, we consider the product, the multiplication A dot BA, and if you use the associative property, then this will be bracket shifting between that A B, that is, this will be A dot B into A. Again, here A B equal to 0, therefore this will be 0 dot A, that is 0. So you see that here A is non-zero given and B also non-zero. So here the multiplication of that two elements is 0. Multiplication of two non-zero element is a 0. Therefore these are the divisor of 0. This is left divisor of 0, and this is B is the right divisor of 0. However, if we consider the product BA dot V, then this will be AB dot BA dot B dot AB by using associative property. Again, AB equal to 0, thus this will be B dot equal to 0. That means it is equal to 0. Okay. From that relation, we can conclude that BA is a right divisor of 0. But from that relation, you see that BA is non-zero, and here B is a non-zero element. There B is a non-zero element. So multiplication of two non-zero element is 0. So therefore both elements are divisor of 0. Here BA is left divisor of 0, but B is right divisor of 0. However, from that relation, we can conclude that BA is left divisor of 0, and from that result we can conclude that BA is a divisor of 0. So here BA is a both sided divisor of 0. So the ring contains a both sided divisor of 0. I hope that you understand that problem. Okay, when a ring contains a left divisor of 0, then it contains a both sided divisor of, the divisor of 0 may be the left divisor of 0 or any other divisor of 0. Here the both sided divisor 0 is either A or it is BA. Okay. However, I hope that you understand the problem. Now I give another problem. Let R be a ring with unity and A belongs to R. Suppose there exists a unique element B in R such that A dot B equal to I. Prove that BA equal to I. Okay. What is the problem? Here R be a ring with unity and A is an element in R. There exists a unique V such that A dot B equal to I. That means if you multiply A with some element, I don't know what is the element, suppose K is an element such that A dot K equal to I, then K must be equal to B. But because here given that A dot B equal to I, where B is a unique element, that is, if you post multiply some elements with A, then element must be B. Okay. However, we have to prove that BA equal to I, that is BA minus I equal to 0. How we calculate it? Actually, we know that A into something equal to I means the something must be equal to B. Okay, here we have to prove that BA minus I equal to 0. If we multiply BA minus I plus B, BA minus I plus B with A, then result will be I, and in that case BA minus I plus B must be equal to B, and from that relation we can conclude that B equal to I. However, if I calculate it, I hope that you understand, you will understand the problem. Proceed. Here R be a ring with unity and A be an element in R. Also given that there exists a unique element B in R such that A dot B equal to I. Okay. We consider the product A dot BA minus I plus B. If you calculate it, at first I multiply A throughout the expression in the bracket, the result will be A dot BA minus A dot I plus AB. Here A dot I means I, here this is ABA. So ABA minus A plus AB. Again, if you use that result, that is AB equal to I, then this will be I dot A minus A plus A. If you calculate here IA means A, so A and A will be cancelled. So as a result, this will be I. Okay. Thus A dot BA minus I plus I equal to I. But here given that there exists unique element B in R such that A dot B equal to Y. But here A dot something equal to Y, therefore the something will be must be B. We get BA minus I plus B equal to I. Therefore BA minus BA equal to I. Just here this B will be cancelled. Therefore BA minus I equal to 0. As a result BA equal to I. Okay. So BA equal to I is proved. Now we have to prove that A is a unit. This is obvious because A B equal to I given and we prove BA equal to I. So A has multiplicative inverse and therefore A will be unit. Thus we get here AB equal to I, BA equal to I. From that result we can conclude that A has multiplicative inverse, that is A is a unit. Okay. I hope that you understand this problem also. However, I will go in next problem. Here also AB is I given, but there are another condition, R be a ring with unity having no divisor of 0. Let AB belongs to R such that AB equal to I. Then prove that BA equal to I2. In previous problem, there are also given AB equal to I, and there we will prove BA equal to I. But the conditions are different. Here the condition is given that the ring contains no divisor of 0. The ring contains no divisor of 0 means if multiplication of two elements is 0, then at least one of the element must be if here R contains no divisor of 0. So if A dot B equal to 0, then always implies that either A equal to 0 or B equal to 0. But if R contains divisor of 0, then if multiplication of two element is 0, then the elements, both the elements may be non-zero. For example, in Z6 plus dot 3 bar 4 bar are both non-zero element, but their product is 0 element. However, when ring contains no divisor of 0, then A dot B equal to 0 always implies that either A equal to 0 or B equal to 0. Okay. Here given that R is a ring with unity having no divisor of 0 and AB belongs to R such that AB equal to I. We have to prove that BA equal to I. Okay. What will be the procedure? Just here you have to prove that BA equal to I, that means BA minus I equal to 0. If we can prove A dot BA minus I equal to 0, A into A multiplication BA minus I equal to 0, then we can conclude that BA minus I equal to 0. Let us consider the product. For that purpose we consider A dot BA minus A. If you calculate it, at first I multiply A throughout the expression, therefore the result will be ABA minus A. Just use the result AB equal to I. So therefore this will be I dot A minus A. I dot A means A, therefore A minus A, this means 0. Okay. Here R contains no divisor of 0 and A dot BI equal to 0. That means either A equal to 0 or BA minus I equal to 0. But here A is non-zero, because if A equal to 0, then AB equal to I implies that 0 equal to I. A contradiction. Actually, if A equal to 0, then from that result 0 dot B equal to I, that means 0 equal to I. But we know that in a non-trivial ring, here R contains unity I, so R clearly is a non-trivial ring, so R contains more than elements. In such a ring, that is in a non-trivial ring, zero element and unity are different elements, that is additive identity and multiplicative identity are both different elements, but in a trivial ring 0 equal to I, but non-trivial ring 0 not equal to I. So this is a contradiction. So here A is non-zero element in the ring R. So here two cases are arises, here A equal to 0 and B minus A equal to 0. So A equal to 0 is not possible. So B minus I must be equal to 0. That means B equal to I. Hence it is proved. Okay. I hope that you understand this problem also. Now I give the definition of idempotent element and an example, and at last I give a problem related idempotent element. An element A in a ring R is said to be an idempotent element if A square equal to A. If you take multiplication of A and the result will be A, in that case the element A is called idempotent element. And A square means A dot A. If A square equal to A, then the element A is called idempotent element. For example, we consider the ring Z6 plus dot. Here the idempotent elements are 0 bar, 1 bar, 3 bar and 4 bar. Why? Just calculate. If you take 0 square means zeros. 0 bar square means 0 bar. 1 bar square means 1 bar. But if you calculate 2 bar square means 4 bar, but 4 bar is not equal to 2 bar. Therefore 2 bar is not an idempotent element in the ring. But if you take 3 bar square, this is 9 bar. Since we take the ring Z6, so you have to divide 9 bar by 6 and you have to take the remainder. If you divide 9 by 6, the remainder is 3. As a result, 9 bar equal to 3 bar. So 3 bar square equal to 3 bar. Therefore 3 bar is a idempotent element. Now if we take 4 bar, then 4 bar square means 16 bar. If you divide 16 by 6, the result remainder will be 4. That is, this is 4 bar. Therefore 4 bar is a idempotent element. But in 5 bar square means 25 bar. If we divide 25 bar by 6, the remainder will be 1 bar. That is 25 bar equal to 1 bar, but it is not equal to 5 bar. Hence 5 bar is not a idempotent element. Okay. However, please remember, in a ring, unity is always idempotent elements, because I square equal to I, you know that. Okay. Now I discuss another problem. The statement is that if A be a idempotent element in a ring, then I minus A is also idempotent element, where I is the unity of the ring. Suppose R be a ring containing unity I. In such a ring, if A be a idempotent element, then I minus A is also idempotent element. Okay. Suppose A be a idempotent element in a ring R with unity I. Since A is idempotent element, therefore we get A square equal to A. Now our target is to prove I minus A is an idempotent element. That is, you have to prove that I minus A whole square equal to I minus A. For that purpose, we calculate I minus A whole square. I minus A whole square means I minus A into I minus A. Just if you take I into that, this will be I minus A, and if you take minus A with that portion, therefore this will be minus A plus A square, minus A plus A square. Okay. But here A square equal to A, so this will be cancelled. The result is I minus A. Okay. Here use that result, A square equal to A, so A square cancelled minus A, so remaining portion remains I minus A, so I minus A whole square equal to I minus A. Why? Because A square equal to A, and hence I minus A is a idempotent element in the ring. Okay. I hope you understand. Now I verify that problem. For that purpose, we consider the previous problem. You see that in Z6 plus dot, the idempotent elements are 0 bar, 1 bar, 3 bar and 4 bar only. Now I prove that theorem. If A is an idempotent element with unity I, then I minus A is also idempotent element in the ring. Just I verify that theorem by using that example. Here I consider the element 3 bar as A. So you know that in Z6 plus dot, 1 bar is the unity. Now I bar minus 3 bar, I minus A. Here I minus A, I calculate I minus A. I mean I minus 3 bar. I means 1 bar 1 bar minus 3 bar, just to calculate it. Again 1 bar equal to 7 bar. If you divide 7 bar by 6, the remainder will be 1, so this will be 1 bar. Again 7 bar minus 3 bar means 4 bar. So since here 3 bar is an idempotent element, I minus 3 bar, that is 4 is an idempotent element. Just here I see that 3 bar is an idempotent element and 4 bar is a idempotent element. Okay. Just therefore the theorem is verified. However, I hope that you understand this problem also. Here in that video I basically discuss some problems. If you have any problems regarding that you need device 0 of 0 idempotent element, you can mail me or you can comment. Mail ID given in description box. Please see another videos. Basically to understand that video you have to must watch the previous videos, that is up to part 4, then you can understand part 5 easily. And please see the next videos to get more concepts about ring theorem. I hope that you understand. Anyway, thank you. Have a good day.